Hello and welcome to this day in my life where I was studying for my UCAT exam. Today was the day before my exam and I got up around 6:30 because I had to be up at the hospital for a uniform fitting for the job I'm about to start. So at the start of the day I opened up my blinds and the first thing I always do in the morning is I make my bed. I then checked over my to-do list that I'd written the night before, and then I went downstairs and fed my goldfish good with chips. So on today's to-do list I wanted to complete 2 UCAT mock papers, finish reading a book, read an Italian short story and finish a crochet pattern that I had started at the weekend. I then went into the kitchen and I made myself a cup of tea, which I do first thing every morning to have with my breakfast. And because I was in a bit of a rush this morning, I just had some breakfast biscuits, which I ate while printing out my uniform form that I needed to take up to the hospital. I then went back upstairs, I brushed my teeth, and then I got dressed and sorted out my terrible bed hair, and then I cycled up to the hospital for an 8 o'clock appointment. When I came back I took about an hour's nap because I hadn't slept very well the night before. I'd gotten up really early and because it was the day before an exam I wanted to make sure I was well rested. So I got up again at around 10:30 and I then went on and set up a UCAS account for applying for university. I hadn't done this yet and the interface now is much more confusing than I remember doing it for the first time, hence my rather confused expression. I then went on and did the first mock paper that I wanted to do for the UCAT exam. So I went ahead and I started with that. It was a full 2-hour mock paper. So I was just working through some pre-selected questions from the books that I had, and I went through and did every section in order and marked them as I went along. So I did each section and then marked it. And here I was doing some situational judgment questions, and overall this took me just over 2 hours to complete and mark all of the questions. So after I had finished the mock exam, I went through and I used the marks to work out a total for each section. I have tried to plan it so that my mocks have a similar number of questions to the real sections in the exam. I then converted this score into a percentage and used this percentage to work out approximately what sort of score I would get. And because I've done a series of mock papers, this has helped me to predict roughly what I should be getting for each section on the exam. So then I made my lunch, and because we didn't have a lot of food in the house, today I was just having some instant noodles because it was the only thing I could really find in the cupboards. I also cooked myself a fried egg just so that I had a bit of protein in my lunch and it wasn't just carbohydrates, and I also had some raspberries and an apple as well. I then, after my lunch, went on and did a little bit of just admin stuff. So I had a few emails that I needed to reply to for my job. I was also filling out an occupational health form, and I was trying to find a copy of my vaccine history to send across to the occupational health department so that I could start. I then went and did a bit of reading outside. I was reading an Italian short story as I have started trying to learn some Italian, and when I am practicing reading, I often tend to read aloud to myself, hence why I look a bit crazy in this clip. But I find that that's really useful when learning a language, because not only do you get to practice the speaking, but you can also hear where you're going wrong with words and words that you may be mispronouncing, so that you can then go back and correct this. After this, I went on and did my second mock paper of the day for my UCAT test. At this point it was getting quite late, so I did just half of the number of questions for each section, just because it was getting quite late and I didn't want to overload myself the night before the exam. And then once I had done this, I went ahead and I cooked myself some dinner. So tonight I was having spaghetti and meatballs, and I was cutting myself up a mango to have for dessert. I find this clip really funny because it reminds me of if you've ever played The Sims and you've set them loads of different actions to go and do and then speed the time up. It reminds me of that. Then, once my dinner was ready, I put it all on a plate. And then sprinkled some cheese over the top. And then poured myself a glass of orange juice. And then after dinner, I just had some mango for dessert with a hot chocolate. And I was watching The Simpsons just to help me unwind a little bit. After this, I went and had a bath, which is something I find really useful just for helping me relax and unwind. I then went and got ready for bed. I did my teeth, and I was just reading a little bit more of the Italian short story that I had been reading. And I forgot to film the rest of the clips for this, but after this I just went to bed. So thank you very much for watching.